Hello everybody, my name is Ling Hui. For today's video, what are we going to be talking about is a really super important foundation skills that every individuals who work in every industry would need to know or even excel at to be able to do their work, which is communication. Well, I believe you guys have heard about this word maybe once or twice in your life, right? Communication is a super important foundation for people, especially the ones that have a great impact on people. Usually, it is a skill that really needed by leaders or by organizers that are the one who would need to have an impact onto the whole world. But still, even normal workers, like maybe teacher or maybe just a canteen person would need these skills as communication. Well, what is it actually and what are some tips to excel at it? Let's look at today's video. First, let's look at the four methods we have in communication. First one we have is verbal. Verbal communication is what I'm showing to you guys right now. Verbal communication is the communication where you guys would hear. You guys would hear the people who's using verbal communication voice. So that is basically what verbal is. Verbal is basically the words that a person speaks and that is transmitted to you, and that is verbal. Next is nonverbal. Nonverbal is things like body language, body gestures, eye contacts, etc. Those are nonverbal. And they are also a really important part in communication because it will have to demonstrate the words a lot. Next is visual. Well, what is visual? Visual is basically through things as pictures like graphs or pictures or charts, lines, etc. Those are the things that are used to show visual. Last is written communication. Written communication is basically what I'm showing on the board here. It is words and letters that's written down to help to communicate my ideas. So that is part of the four methods that's commonly used in communication, which are verbal, non-verbal, visual, and written communication. Well, now let's look at some tips to excel at communication. First is to imply active listening. What is active listening? It is when you are basically like people who's speaking is in front of you and they speak. So as a person who's listening, you will be active. You will look at all their ways of communication, both body language and voice, and listen closely. That is active listening. And when you are being able to achieve to this state where you could listen to people actively and does not need any type of people who like try to represent that again to you, then that is when you have achieved active listening. And this part is also really important because it helps you to be able to understand and comprehend what the other people is trying to communicate to you. Next is try to use the right method. This one is super important. Imagine when you're in a math class and you don't show any visual to them, you just read out the whole math problem or you just read out the whole picture. There's no visual and there's nothing at all. They wouldn't understand. Or if like you are a comedy, right? And you don't have any verbal communication, like you don't have voice, you can't share through your voices. That's basically a really bad way to communicate. So try to use the right method. Next, be friendly and respectful to the listeners and to people around you. Because when you're friendly and when you're respecting them, it will create a friendly environment where people will feel comfortable with sharing and communicating with you. Next, but also important, is to be confident. If you're confident, if you know what you would talk about, if you're not shy, and if you could show out the confident side of you, people would more likely to be attracted through your voice and communicating so that they will be more focusing, and that is a really big key too. Next is try to use the correct volume and tone. Imagine you are having a public speaking. You stand in front of thousands of people down there listening to your speech, but your voice is like Hello. So today I want to share about that is totally not the correct volume and tone that you need to use. So your tone in that case should be powerful, it should be confident, and your volume should be large and audible for all the people down there. So that is when you've achieved the effective communication. And lastly is be responsive. When you're communicating with people, it's not just about them talking, it's about you listening and responding. So if you don't respond, if you act like you don't focus, and if you act like you don't care, there wouldn't be any effective communication. So that is all of the tips that I want to give you here for effective communication. And just in conclusion, I believe that communication is a really necessary skills that every individual should achieve. Maybe not excel, but at least they get to know the handle of it. So they could control the world around them and have an impact on people. Well, that is all for today's talk about effective communication. Now it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye. See you in the next video.